All right, so in this screencast, we're gonna use proportional reasoning or proportions to figure out a distance versus time problem. So in this problem, it says Mr. Anderson drives from Wadena to Brainerd a lot, and those are about 50 miles apart, and it takes him 55 minutes to get there. If he continues to drive at this same rate, how long would you expect him to get? It should say, how long would you expect it to take him to get to his grandpa's in Wisconsin, which is 200 miles apart. Okay, both of those numbers are roughly true from where I live. Okay, so if I want to solve this using a proportion, the key indicator in this problem that I can use a proportion is that it says he continues to drive at the same rate. Okay, if you have the same rate, remember a rate is just a ratio and a proportion is two ratios that are equal to each other. So if the rate's staying the same, that means that it is going to be a proportional problem. Okay, so I can solve this two different ways. I could either go miles per minute or minutes per mile. I would still get the same answer regardless, but I'm going to go miles per minute. So if I write out my proportion to solve, I would be 50 miles. I'm just going to go mi for miles per, remember our division bar or our fraction bar is just like the word per, 50 miles per 55. I'm going to go min for minutes. Okay, and if the rate's staying the same, that means this rate is going to be equal to, well, in the new problem, it says that they are 200 miles apart. But we need to figure out how long, so that's the time it would take to get to his grandpa's. We don't know that, so I'm just going to put a variable in its place. I'll just use the letter x this time. I'll be boring and use the letter x, but it takes x minutes to get there. We don't know what x is yet. So I would just solve this like we did in our previous videos of solving a proportion. I'm just going to set my cross products equal to each other. So 50 times x equals 55 times 200. And that one I'll have to use my calculator for, I think. Actually, I wouldn't. I can do that in my head, but I'm going to double check or make sure I get it right. So I'm going to use my calculator. So I'm going to go 55 times 200. And yep, it would be 11,000. 11,000. And now I just solve it like a basic equation. I got to divide by 50, divide by 50 on both sides, and then you end up getting x is equal to 11,000 divided by 50 is 220. And so, again, just 220 by itself is just a number. So I have to label it. It would be 220 minutes. Okay, or I could split it up into hours and minutes, right? So there are 60 minutes in an hour. Well, how many times does 60 go into 220 without going over? That'd be 3 hours because there are 180 minutes in 3 hours, and then there are 40 minutes left over. So 3 hours and 40 minutes. That should say minutes down there. I just ran out of room. Okay. So my answer for this is either 220 minutes or 3 hours and 40 minutes.